All right, Marianne. You know what? It's you and me. How about that? It's interesting that the scheduling they've done these amazing things. How they've put us together. So that's me, Marianne Coyte,
Coyte.
Grinney, and Marianne and I had the opportunity to talk before we came and put this together. Well, we didn't put it together. They put us together, and they said, we two talk about mental health. And
so we're here to talk about something a bit more down to earth. I blame my co-founder Doug in the audience for that. He literally dipped that in my ear just before I got on stage.
Is that what you were whispering? Yeah. Oh my God, that was a setup. Holy smokes, that is awesome. So
I can't take credit for that.
That's pretty good. Yeah. It's blessing to see you because when we talked on the phone, it was a delight actually. Yeah, it was like we had known each other a long time.
Yeah, I know, and I'd hoped to kind of catch you before now, but here we are, and I think serendipitous kind of just to meet you on stage.
Yeah.
Calms my nerves. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And NFTs at the intersection of mental health and a modern digital landscape. Marianne and I have absolutely nothing to do with the title.
Oh, no. Come on. I have a lot to do with the title.
You do?
I actually do. Yeah, they kind of mashed that title up from what I submitted.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
So this is your forte, and
well, I hope so.
It is, and you and I had the conversation about how it has impacted both of us in our lifetimes. So feel free to lead this.
So where should I start? So I'm a psychotherapist in the UK's National Health Service. For anyone here in the UK, I hope you know what the National Health Service is, because if you don't, I'd be a bit worried. Oh, I see you repping that at the back. And I'm a lead for an eating disorder service as well. And I first joined Web3 in January, and I didn't really know what it was. I actually had COVID, and so I was quarantined, bored, couldn't really see any of my patients, and I was like, I don't know what to do. So I started to do some research, and within about 7 hours, I'd minted my first NFT, and my husband was buzzing me from downstairs, like, what are you doing? I don't know if this is a good idea. It's like you've joined Noah's Ark now. And I got really interested in a whole new level of Web3 NFTs that I'd never even considered, which was firstly women-led projects and kind of the socio-political landscape of that. And then the other half was mental health, because I was seeing Discords and various different platforms saying, we've got a mental health channel, or here's a mental health space. So I kind of assumed naively that there would be mental health professionals within those kind of spaces, keeping it safe, moderating it. And I realized really quite quickly that there weren't, and people were being really vulnerable and rocking up with genuine mental health problems, and they weren't being met safely, they weren't being met ethically. And although we can't do therapy in the space, I thought there must be a better way to do this. And to cut a long story short, I met up via another project called Meta Angels via their Wishing Well with Doug, who's in the audience over there, and Aaron, Dave, and Seth. And we co-founded, well, they'd already founded, but I kind of hopped on board as a co-founder, a project called Misfit Robots to think about doing mental health and sobriety safely and ethically within the space. And we've now rebranded to a project called Held Mind, and we basically help other projects look after their teams and their holders' mental health. If anyone's in a crisis, they can hop on over to our Discord. We're kind of staffed up with mental health professionals from all over the world, and we help direct them to in real life crisis help, because not everybody knows where to go in real life. Not everybody knows how to access help.
What was the name of the?
Held Mind.
Held Mind.
Yeah, it's like hold your mind.
Right, so how do people find that?
So you can find us on Twitter at the handle Held Mind. You can find us on Discord. I think we're also at Held Mind on Discord, aren't we? And I think all the links are on my profile. I'm on Twitter as Firebrand35. But we got talking as well, didn't we?
Tell us about the success of Held Mind. Well,
Held Mind. The success of Held Mind is ongoing, I suppose. We are We collaborate with lots of other different projects. We have a mental health alliance, so we have a Discord to Discord bot, if you like a ping, where we curate mental health content and articles from all of the staff that are on board the team, and that goes out into other servers. So it might just be some self-help, some guided resources, crisis helplines and diversions to that, and just reminders to, mental health, we all have mental health, we all have a brain. And this is what frustrates me quite often. I think mental health, sometimes people are like, oh, we can't talk about mental health. There's still lots of stigma around it. And we have this amazing platform here to really destigmatize the narrative around mental health and to really say, we all have this. If you broke your leg, would you carry on walking? No, you'd get a cast and some crutches, hopefully, if your healthcare system works properly. Why can't we look after our brains in the same way?
So I think we can. So this kind of work is important. I think we can, and I think that we are at a place where we can actually move the conversation forward about how we had interacted with the idea and necessity of mental health in the past. That we can start just assuming that mental health is a priority and that we're going to incorporate it in every facet of our lives. And since here we're in Web3 and NFTs, that we get to do that. You're doing that. What's been the reception to Held Mind?
I think we've had a really good reception. I think people have been initially sometimes a bit surprised, like, oh my goodness, someone's actually doing. And we're not an NFT project, so we're not kind of shilling a project. We're actually like, hey, we want to help you. And I think there's been a bit of surprise at that. There's initially kind of like, oh, and the space in general, I think people are like, what do you want? What are you giving? What have I got to give to you for you to give this to me? And then when they've realized actually, oh my goodness, this is a resource, we don't really know how to help our holders. It's not fair for community managers and moderators to be expected to be a mental health professional.
Oh my God.
People are really struggling in the space.
All right, so first of all, it's funny that we talk about Discord and mental health in the same sentence, because we laugh about it, but like, holy smokes. And if you don't use Discord or if you have a complex or complicated relationship with Discord, there's people that are really not just turned off, but affected by the mayhem of Discord. And if you are in a Discord channel or server that is busy, it can be really grueling. So does Held Mind provide support for other projects and for Discord servers for this channel in their server, the mental health channel?
So yeah, people can be directed back to our Discord basically if somebody's having a bad day, or even just a bad day on Discord. I mean, when I first joined Discord, that should have come with a mental health warning. The whole space should have come with a slight mental health warning. I like to think I've got quite robust mental health. And within about 2 weeks, I was just kind of like, oh my goodness, and my phone was kind of glued. It's like if my phone wasn't by me, there was like this palpable anxiety of, where's my phone, where's my Discord? And I was like, this is not okay. And if this is happening to me, it's happening to everyone else as well. I hope.
No, listen, it's like on a pack of cigarettes, Web3 comes with a warning label. It kind of should. I mean, anybody who has ever degened a project, and even if you're as a creator or as a holder, when we're like to the moon, that whole thing, and you're just jamming, you're like, yeah, to the moon, to the moon. And then or the other side, as a creator, oh my goodness, what was I have a story about this. So I get to interact with different projects and different people. I degen and I create, and I like all the facets of it. And there was a project called Fishy Fam. I'll name it. And they had a release, and it came out that they had paid the person who did the IP, which is Jay Vaughn, who created Loser Club, $1,000 total for the IP, and the project in a few hours had done something like it had to be at least 100 ETH in a few. It was some ridiculous. No, it was 1,000 ETH. I remember they did 1,000 ETH in their drop, and they had paid the creator $1,000 USD, And then somebody came out and said, hey, this is going on. And then naturally a FUD began to emerge immediately. And then there was, in this story, there's all kinds of people that could use services of like a held mine. But in particular, one of the founders of Fishy Fam was a 19-year-old. And I didn't know this. But I heard there was 2 rooms on Twitter Spaces of 3,000 people each. And all they did, there's one founder who was just being the worst kind of person that you could imagine. So he was affecting everyone's mental health. And then there was this person who was taking all the heat from everybody who had bought the project. And I heard them take the heat. And I heard them respond to people intelligently and acknowledge what they had said and then offer solutions to the challenges that they were proposing, or saying, I'll get back to you. I don't know the answer, and I'll get back to you, which is really the way to go. And I just reached out to him after 3 hours of just really the worst kind of berating I've ever heard in my life. And I checked in. I said, how you doing? I reached out. I had never met the person in my entire life. And it was after midnight. And they said, I really appreciate you reaching out. I'm doing good. My parents are here, and so they're great support. I said, your parents? How old are you? And they said, I'm 19. And I'm like, I'm choked up just thinking about it. Like, to have perfect strangers just really come at me, and I'm talking in horrendous ways. You know how we can be, all of us as human beings. And sometimes we show up that way. And he took this for 3 hours. They took this for 3 hours. And then these are the considerations that we get to, when we're doing anything we're doing. It could be any part of this. This is just a PFP project, but it can be, like, there's so many different facets of this. You're building all the stress of building a new company, all those stresses that combine. And to me, it's, Marianne, it's remarkable that you're combining mental health and Discord. Every time I think about it, I'm tickled by this.
But it's needed, you know. And I think it's difficult.
Essential.
It's difficult in the space, though, isn't it? Because with PFPs as well, I think we sometimes forget we are people. There are people behind these PFPs.
Yeah.
And I always try to take a position, that everybody is doing the very best they can. Even if we're looking at that thinking, oh my goodness, what are you doing? That's rubbish. We're all doing the very best we can in the circumstances that we're in.
Yeah.
With the utilities that we have available. And there is a real lack sometimes of kindness in the space and of looking out for each other and of keeping people safe. And we have people bounce into our tickets saying, I don't want to be here anymore. I do not want to be alive anymore. And just by interacting, just by saying, you are important, you are loved, you are enough, we're here to listen, that can be enough.
So just letting people know that this resource that Marianne's created, Held Mind, and having that awareness that everybody's taken by just being here is an advantage. This is how we move things forward. We change the bar. So I want to thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, everyone, for coming. I honestly thought there would be nobody here. So I'm
this
chuffed.
Lovely. Yeah, good work. Yeah,
Thanks, Mike.
keep up the good work.